What's going on, guys? It's Jono, and today in the next few minutes we're going to be talking about how you can scrape virtually an unlimited amount of leads for free off of Apollo.io, how you can add them to a database, and how you can even go as far as generating AI emails and then sending those via cold email to the contacts that you scraped. It's only going to take a few minutes to build. There is no coding whatsoever required in this video, and it's going to be beginner friendly. So even if you don't know anything about web scraping, anything about automation, or anything about AI, we're going to be covering everything only in a couple minutes. So let's jump into it. In front of me, I have the workflow right here. Let's actually just run this and see what happens. So we scrape some leads, okay? And then once we scrape those leads, we added those leads one by one into a spreadsheet here. And then we're going to generate 2 AI responses to that particular client. The first AI response is going to be, I just paused this workflow here, but the first response is going to be the initial email. And then the second response is going to be the follow-up email in case that they don't reply to the initial email here. We're going to add that person into Lemlist, which you can see here. And if we went ahead and launched, it would look something like this. Subject line, a fresh take on SEO. For the infomercial innovator. Hey Kevin, I hope this message finds you well. My name is Jono Catliff and I'm the owner of ABC Company. Like millions of others, I've admired your work, your incredible journey from inventing the infomercial and pioneering on Shark Tank to inspiring countless entrepreneurs through your book, Mentor to Millions. So we're gonna be generating these emails pretty much immediately using artificial intelligence. So that's really, really cool. And we can do this at scale too. It doesn't have to be for one person. It can be for 10 or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 or however many you want to do. So let's get started and let's break this down. Number one is we're going to be using a couple softwares. The first one is make.com. Right? So this is my favorite software out there. It's for automating your business, right? It's about tying different applications together so you can web scrape and then you can add those results to Google Sheets and then you can also add that contact to Lemlist. The second software we're going to be using is Lemlist to do cold email outreach. So you can get started on both of these softwares for free, but this is going to help you email people cold. And then the third, I guess we're also going to be using Google Sheets, so that's the third technically. But the fourth software that we're going to be using today is Apify. And Apify is what we're going to be using to web scrape. You don't need to know any code to do this. So we're going to get started. But before we do, guys, please make sure to subscribe to this channel if you like content just like this, because I am going to be releasing a ton more just like this. Also, make sure to give me a thumbs up. And the blueprints for this automation is going to be down below. So if you do want to copy that and use it yourself, you can go ahead and download it for free. Okay, awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into Apify, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to focus on scraping Apollo, right? So if we just go into Apify and we type in Apollo, there's lots of things here, but we want to use this leads scraper just because it's pretty cheap to get started, right? It's like $5 per 1,000 results. If you're to do this by hand, it would probably take you more than 1 cent per result. So I'm assuming this is probably worth it for you. And we're going to be scraping Apollo, right? So you do need to have an Apollo account, but essentially you can come into Apollo search and find tons of different people that you can reach out to, right? So in this Apollo web scraper here, we have a couple fields that we have to sort out here, right? We have this intimidating field called cookies. It's going to look like this for you guys. And then there's also a login email and a password, right? So you have 2 options. Number one is you can provide it with your email and you can provide it with your password. Or if you want, you can provide it with cookies, right? So you're gonna have to come into Apollo and find your cookies. Now, just as a really quick recap here, guys, if you don't know Apollo already, it's a fantastic software that you can essentially find tons and tons of contacts, millions of contacts to be exact, and it's super popular, right? So this is a great place for you to find a whole bunch of different people and be able to contact them to sell your products or your services to. Okay, so what we need to do is we're gonna do the cookies route. So if we hover over this question mark here, essentially it tells us the exact instructions. So we just go to this cookie editor here and we just add this to your Chrome extensions, okay? And if you want to skip over the cookies, you can just put in your login and your password here. But in our account here, what we want to do is just find this cookies editor here, and it's going to give us all of our cookies, and we can just essentially export this in a JSON file and then come back here, and we're going to delete everything in here and then just paste it in. So now we have our cookies and we're good to go, right? So we have access for this web scraper to log into our account to start scraping results immediately. And we just need to give it a search URL for it to find the specific leads that we're looking for. So if we come into the search panel here, right? This is the result that we want to give it, right? The URL up here. But ideally, in a perfect world, we'd make it a bit more specific than this, because we want to make sure that we provide it with the exact type of people that we want to reach out to in the first place. And how we do that is through the filter section down below. So let's say, for example, maybe we want emails to be only of people that are likely to engage and they're also verified. So that can be a good filter. And you can see here that the URL actually just changed up here to provide us more information. So it says contact email status version 2 is likely to engage, and then contact email status version 2 is verified, right? So essentially, when we scrape this URL, it's only going to be scraping people that are likely to engage, and they're also verified, right? So we can keep going down, and we can keep adding more and more criteria to this. So for example, job titles, we could say, hey, maybe these are owners, right? Maybe we just want to target owners, and that's a great way to go about it too. And maybe we want to change the location, and we can put United States, okay? Now, we can keep going on and on and on about how you can find more granular results, but I'm just going to use this for example, and then if you guys want to filter it even more, you can go ahead and do so. So in this search URL, we're going to put this, okay? And effectively, what we're going to do here is we're just going to scrape 2 results. I don't want to scrape like a million for this example, and we can click save and start. So we have now started this actor. Now, if all you want to do is just scrape and you just want a CSV file, then this is good enough for you, right? You can just export it. But in the remainder of the video, we're going to be talking about how you can build out an automated system using, well, both automation and artificial intelligence to automatically do a million other things, such as cold email outreach to these people. So in the results here, if we just click on this nice little 25, actually down below, oh my gosh, I hope my face is not blocking this like usual, but okay, here we go. So we have this export 25 results. It's like the big green button on the page that you can't miss. You can just essentially export this to an HTML table, or you can export it as an Excel file, right? I'm just going to do HTML table just to view it in another tab to see what we got here. So yeah, we have tons of different people. Actually, I take that back, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to do JSON, and I'm going to walk through this step by step in case you're not familiar with JSON. So we have the first name of the person, Dimitri, last name, Petrides, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Here's their URL to LinkedIn here, and they're an owner. Their email status is verified, and then here's their employment history. There's a ton of different stuff here. Phone numbers are down here, and all of this information, right, that we just scraped really, really quickly is all here, right? So that's fantastic. So we've officially gone ahead and we scraped a ton of different results here. But yeah, just to export this, you can choose Excel. But let's say we want to build out a workflow like this, right? Where we save them to a Google Sheet file. And then we also use artificial intelligence. And by using artificial intelligence, we build out email number 1 and then email number 2, and we send that out to them. We're gonna do that, and it's not gonna take super long to do either. So in make.com, which is the second software that we're gonna be using here, we're gonna create a new scenario. So when this eventually loads in like 20 light years, we'll go ahead and create a new scenario here. Okay, and I'm gonna title this Apollo Web Scraper. Awesome. And then we have this massive purple button here. And what we want to do is click Apify. Your Apify is probably not going to show up for you guys, so you just have to type in here, Apify down below, and we're going to run an actor. And what we're doing here is literally the exact same as what we did here. The only exception is instead of running this web scraper in apify.com, now we're running it in make.com, right? So we're automatically running that actor in Apify, but we're just doing that in make.com. So make.com is just the glue that binds all these applications together. We run the scraper, we post it in Google Sheets, we get AI, we generate some responses, we send it to Lemlist. So make.com is just the blue, or the blue, I can't even speak, the glue. So the actor we're gonna choose, right, has to be the one that we just ran here. So let's go back and let's take a look. We're gonna look at this actor. It's by Curious Coder. So we're gonna copy and paste this in, and it should be this. Oh gosh, there's two. Oh my gosh, so much anxiety. It should be it should be the second one here. But just in case, if you guys run into this problem and you're like, there's way too many results, it does say the ID here. And this ID is always going to be in the URL. So as long as these match, we are officially good to go. We are going to run it synchronously. So what synchronously means when you run something means that, let's say we scrape in the first module. If it was running asynchronously before the web scraper finishes, it's just automatically going to go to these next steps, right? But if you run it synchronously, it's going to say, hold up, we're going to wait. We're going to wait until the web scraper is completely finished. And then once it is officially completely finished, only then we're going to move on to the next step. And the reason why we want to run it that way, which is synchronously, where we wait until we go to the next step, is because if we don't do that, then we're going to go to the next modules, and it's going to depend on the resources that we got from the web scraper, which hasn't completed yet. So there's going to be no results, so it will not continue, and it will ultimately fail because it can't run with no results. Okay, so we are good to go here. We're going to run synchronously here, and we need to input some JSON here, and we can leave the rest of this the way it is. So for the input JSON, all we have to do is come back here, and we just essentially need to copy all of this, right? And then paste it in here, and then almost never look at it again. I'm just teasing you guys. We're gonna have to look at it for one thing. And that one thing that we need to do is, if you're gonna run this multiple times, we need to make sure that we change this URL here, right? So this URL here, which if we just copy and paste it, this we're gonna have to change, right? If we wanna have multiple runs. So for example, let's say run number 1, you have these search results, but then run number 2, you're like, hey, I don't wanna do owners. Instead, I wanna do like project managers. Then you can change that, but the URL changes as well, and you'd have to update it for every subsequent run that you change the results for. But for the purpose of this, we're just gonna leave it as is, because we're just gonna do one example here. And we're gonna add one more module here, which is Apify. We're gonna get the dataset IDs, and we can just paste in default dataset ID. So you can search up here data, and then the first result will be default dataset ID, and paste in here and click OK. The reason why we're doing it this way is because we have two modules. The first is the trigger. It's going to run the actor, right? And then once the actor is run, then we have to find the result of that run actor. Unfortunately, in the first module here, it doesn't actually provide the results of the run, but the second operation here, which is get data set items, is going to provide the results. So let's go ahead and let's run this, and let's just take a look and see what the results are that we receive. And this will take a couple seconds. And okay, sweet. So we got our results here, and we have many bundles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we have 25 different results, and you can take a lot more than 25 if you want to, but we're just gonna stick with 25 for now. And essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this simple for us, where we're gonna click this download output bundle. And what we wanna do is we want to copy the first result here. So let's just do We're going to do ID here. Find the second one. Okay, this doesn't help too much. We want to copy the first result here, essentially. And the reason we want to copy the first result is because, hold on, there's a better way to do this. We're going to do first name here. Okay, sweet. So everything from here on up, we're going to copy. The reason is that we don't want to wait for the web scraper to load every single time we want to test this. Instead, what we want to do is we want to just do a copy of one of the results here and run it instantaneously so that we don't have to wait like 60 seconds or a minute or 2 minutes or whatever every single time this runs. So what we can do here is we can do JSON, and we're going to do parse JSON, and we're just going to copy and paste that in here. So I'm going to add some square brackets, one square bracket at the top here, one square bracket at the bottom here. We're going to unlink this and throw the trigger over here. So now when we run this, and we can ignore this warning, it's going to automatically pull in Susan McIntosh every single time, instantly. We don't have to wait 2 minutes or 3 minutes every single time this actor runs. It's just going to be instantaneous. So from there, what we can do is we can go into Google Sheets and we can add a row here. So we're going to add a row. And what this row is we want to add them to this list here, right? So in order to do that, we're going to make sure that we can we're going to add it to that Google spreadsheet straight through make.com. And how we do that is first by linking the spreadsheets together. And then once we've linked those spreadsheets together, what we can do is we can simply just go ahead and map all the right information from Apollo right into the Google spreadsheet, right? Like their first name, like their last name, like their email and their phone number and the title and the position, all that kind of stuff, right? And it's super easy to do. All we have to do is come in here and select from all, and we need the spreadsheet ID, which can be found right in the URL here. So we'll copy and we'll paste that in, and it's gonna load the spreadsheet. I have an error here, permission denied, which is because I'm not using the right Google account. If I switch that, now it's working. The spreadsheet name is leads. There's a bunch of, oh man, my face is always in the way here. I hope you guys can see that, but there's a ton of tabs down here. So you just have to select the right tab. And then we have this spreadsheet, right? With name, title, organization, headline, website, industry, email, phone, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, we just gotta map this out appropriately. So when we web scraped those 25 results, we got the name of the person, right? And then we also got the title, and then the organization is going to be the name here. So Macintosh Human Capital Management. And then the headline, for their headline, it should be here, Macintosh Human Capital Management, whatever. Website is going to be under organization. We're just gonna search that up here to make it easier. And then industry is hospitality. And then let's take a look and see if the email came through. So email did come through, and the phone as well. So primary phone number is this. And let's go ahead and click OK. And we'll run this one time. Oops. For some reason, you just have to click OK twice here, and then that error goes away. We'll run this once. Okay, cool. And we have this person in our CRM here, right? Or sorry, our Google Sheet. Now there is an error here, and that is because there's a +1. So essentially there's a couple ways around that. But for right now, I'm just thinking, let's see if we can change that up and get a different format here. Phone number, raw. So it doesn't look like we can change the format. So maybe what we just do is we just put the brackets for now, and then we have something that doesn't cause an error. Now what we want to do is we have added them into Google Sheets. We want to effectively now cold email these people, right? But if you're like me and you probably don't want to write those emails yourself. You would rather have artificial intelligence do the heavy lifting for you. So that's what we're going to build out. So we're going to build out a system where we send emails via Lemlist, right? But in order to send them emails via Lemlist, we're going to use artificial intelligence to automatically generate those emails for us first, and then we're going to send the AI generated emails to Lemlist to send to that particular client. Okay, so let's build this out here. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to select Chat GPT, and what we're going to select from this menu, because there's like a million different things here, is create a completion prompt, GPT 3, 3.5, 4, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so a few things: model, message, max tokens. Let's go over this. Model, you probably want to use the most up-to-date one, which at the time of this would be GPT-4. I'm just going to use 4.0, which is the system. Max tokens, I'm going to put in like 400 here. Max tokens corresponds to how much money you're spending, right? So every token you go up, every token it uses will cost you more money. But when you say max tokens, you're essentially saying, hey, if you spend more than 400 tokens, we're going to cut off the message, and we're not going to say anything more, right? So it could cut off mid-word, for example, if the message spans longer than 400 tokens, right? And a token corresponds to a certain amount of characters, right? So the word "and" might be like, I don't know off the top of my head, but it might be like 1.7 tokens, for example. So the more tokens you have, the longer the length of the response will be. But for a email like this, 400 is probably a safe bet, but you'll definitely want to, you will want to play around with this and experiment to make sure that you don't have emails that cut off, because that's quite embarrassing. Okay, so that's part 2, and part 3, which is the final part, is the message here. So we're going to provide context to how we want to automatically generate this. By the way, guys, before you go ahead and test this, if you don't have money on your OpenAI account, you will have to add it in, or else it will throw an error. So when you set up this account, you have to grab the API key, right? And it should provide you instructions on how to do that straight through Make, but you also have to add a balance, like $5, to get it started, because if you start doing this without adding a balance, it's not going to work properly. Coming back here, so the first role we're going to select is system, and we want to give it context so it can create a nice opening email. So let's just think about what we want to create here. Probably want to give it some context about the client. We also want to tell the purpose of what this email is. Hey, it's a cold email, context, and then some guidelines on what to say and what not to say. So this is a cold email to this person. This is the first time we're emailing them. And I want to create an email that is going to grab this person's attention and is unique and interesting, let's just say. So here's some context on the person, and we can just say name equals name here, and then we will say title equals title, and then we will say headline equals headline. We're trying to provide as much email as possible. We'll say organization equals organization here. And let's see, what else could we provide? Industry, industry equals industry, keywords equals keywords, and that may be it. We could do state equals state. I think that is good for now. That's just going to provide us with some additional context on how we can address this. and maybe we do time zone if we're scheduling an appointment, right? So let's just say the purpose of this email is to schedule an appointment to talk about, let's just say, keep it broad, digital marketing services. Okay, awesome. So that sounds good. We're gonna add one more message in here, and it's gonna be an assistant. And we're just gonna say, please do not include the subject line here. Also, do not include custom variables such as name. Here is my contact info, Jono Catliff, ABC company. Let's just say name equals this, company equals ABC company. We could say, and then yeah, we'll just sign off on that. And that looks pretty good to me. So let's go ahead and run this and see the result that it returns. All right, so under the results choices, one, messages, and content here, it says, here's what it is. So first of all, we definitely do not want to include this in there. So we're going to have to go back and alter that out. It would be so embarrassing to send an email being like, sure, here's a suggested email that could grab Susan's attention. Subject line, elevate your recruitment game with cutting edge digital marketing strategies. I hired somebody, and the first thing they said was like the standard GPT response, sure, here's what you can say to your marketing manager. And I just sat there and like, oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing. I felt so bad for him. So please don't. Please never do that with AI. But anyways, here's the email that we have underneath it. Hey Susan, I hope this message finds you well. As the driving force behind Macintosh Human Capital Management, your reputation for seamlessly aligning luxury and lifestyle hospitality professionals with top-tier opportunities is truly impressive. In the bustling realm of hospitality, maintaining this level of excellence is no small feat. Kudos to you. Right? So kind of something like that, right? You can obviously change this up to however you see fit, right? And we're just going to go back in here, and we're going to change. Oops, I'm just going to zoom out here. We're going to change this to make sure that we add in the assistant here. Please don't add any additional context to the email. No subject line. No additional, no intro, no outro, no additional text, just the email, and that should be good. And what we're going to do here is we're going to do a follow-up email as well, so we can clone this module, paste it here, and for the second follow-up, we're going to just change a couple things here. We're going to add one more message. It's going to be an assistant, and we're going to say, here was the previous message that, and we just need to copy this person's name. This person didn't reply to, and you also include that previous message here. So we're going to copy the message in here so that we're giving context to ChatGPT to say, hey, Susan didn't reply to this last message, so please do a follow-up message relating to how we can follow up based on the message that she didn't answer already to. So we're providing context so the AI model can understand what to say next. So really what we want to do here is say, this is a follow up. This is a second follow up cold email to this person. The first email has already been sent. And then the goal, we're just going to provide some information on what we want. The goal here is to re-engage this person. and try to schedule an appointment to talk about digital marketing services. And then that's essentially it. We're good to go. We can click OK, and we will run both of these results. It's going to generate the first artificial intelligence email, and then it will generate the second AI email shortly afterwards. And we can take a look at both of these results. So the first email here looks way better, right? So it doesn't have any additional context to this. Hi, Susan. Imagine your team becoming the go-to experts in the luxury hospitality space, where every potential client's first interaction with your recruitment service starts with a compelling online presence. That's what digital marketing tailored for Macintosh can achieve, right? So overall, it's an okay email. It's probably not going to be something that's going to grab her attention, right? So obviously you'd have to go in and really make sure that this is a spectacular email, because that sounds pretty generic. But this is just for the purpose of understanding how you can kind of build out a system like this. Choices number 2, this is the follow-up message. So it says, hey Susan, I hope this email finds you well. I wanted to follow up on our previous message regarding digital marketing strategies tailored for Macintosh human capital management. In a competitive field like luxury human hospitality recruitment, having a robust online presence can make a significant difference in attracting top-tier candidates and clients. Okay, that sounds good to me. The last thing we're going to do here is we're going to bundle it all together, and we're going to send it to Lemlist, right? So we're going to type in Lemlist here. We're going to add a lead, and once this takes its sweet time loading, we will continue on to the next steps here. Okay, so we loaded it in. We're going to connect automatically. And I already have an account here, but if you don't, you're going to have to create a new account with Lemlist. And keep in mind, you can use whatever cold email outreach you want. I'm just going to be using Lemlist for the purpose of this tutorial. And we need to add a campaign ID. So in Lemlist, if we come in here, right, we need to make sure that we add a new campaign here. So we'll create a campaign, and we will just title this Apollo Cold Outreach Campaign, and we're going to send an email, okay? And in this subject line, what you're definitely going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure you use AI or something to either create that for you, or just have a custom variable in here and just say something that will get their attention. Let's just say first name and Jono meeting. Let's just say something like that. And we can simply come in here and do email_1. And we're just going to create a variable called email_1. And this is the AI email that we're going to insert in here, right? So we don't have to do anything more than that. The AI will take care of the rest. And then we can do a follow-up email here, where that second email will be following up on that. So let's just say first name X Jono meeting. And this is going to be email_2, right? And we'll follow up with the second email here, right? We'll select the sender, so it's good to go. And that's pretty much it, right? Just as at a very basic level. We'll come back in here, and we're gonna select the campaign ID. We'll refresh the results here. And we have Apollo Cold Email Outreach. And then we can go ahead and just put the person's name. I'm just going to put my email just for now, just because this is a test purpose here. But of course, you would you just put in their email right here, right? And then first name would be Susan right here. We're going to map the last couple of variables, and then organization name will be here. Okay, awesome. And we're going to add 2 custom variables here. So custom variable 1 will be email1, and custom variable 2 will be email2. And let's kind of just drag these in. And oops. Okay, sweet. What we want to do for email1 is we want to make sure that this is the initial email that we generated, right? So it's going to be this content section here. And then for email2, which is the follow-up email, we also want to generate the content in here as well. Okay, we'll click OK, and we'll save this. And what we're going to do is we are going to go to the next step here and look at the lead list. And there's nobody in here, right? We're going to run this scenario. It's going to send Susan or the tens of thousands of other people that you can scrape to the Google Sheet. and then we're going to generate 2 AI responses and then send that to Lemlist. Looks like your request was invalid. So let's go ahead and let's just take a look and see what this could have been. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and try that one more time and see what happened here. Okay. All right, so I just solved it. Apparently what happened there was we actually had 2 modules for Lemlist. One was hidden behind the other one and the other one below was not filled in properly. So I just deleted that, recreated it, and now ran it, and it worked. And you can see in Lemlist we have this client that has come in, and we can take a look at the emails that were generated automatically. Here is what the AI responses generated. Hey Susan, I hope this email finds you well, as the dynamic force behind, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but here are the 2 emails. And that is really quickly how you can use make.com to automate an entire workflow where you scrape results using Apify. You put those results into Google Sheets, and then you use artificial intelligence to generate email responses and Lemlist to send those email responses out to tens, hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands of candidates that you scraped automatically online to sell your products or your services. So that is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching through to the end. If you liked this content, please make sure to subscribe to this channel, because there's going to be a lot of very similar videos about automation or web scraping or artificial intelligence that I'm going to be posting pretty much daily here. And make sure to leave a comment down below if you have any ideas on future topics that you'd like me to cover. And if you want to reach out, if you need help with any of this setup or anything like that, you can always send me an email, which can be found in my profile on YouTube. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.